One of my students asked me this question. Hi Ra, can we talk about how to balance the spiritual with the material? I really get stuck on that. In my own life, I have noticed how, as I was going through this, I was so confused how to balance the practical needs of this world with my spiritual journey, which sometimes felt all consuming. We are either seeing it externally or we are seeing it internally. But having an all encompassing understanding, which is hard for the ego mind to do, but you can do from your heart mind. And that's the secret to the right understanding. Okay, let's get there. So it's important to understand that the inner reality is the only true reality, but the external reality is a reflection of the inner reality. Makes sense? Pretty plain and simple. The inner reality is where everything originates, everything begins. But the external reality, because our creatorhood, God, higher self, wants us to be able to experience things in a more concrete and accessible and understandable way, which is much easier through our five senses to experience things, creates this mirror where we can go through really a deep inner journey that is represented on the outside as we live through the day-to-day life. There is an inner journey that is enhanced by it little by little, and sometimes very intensely, some through, when you may have some intense periods in life where there are lots of ups and downs. But the inner journey is really what it's all about. Because the external journey is so temporary, so up to interpretation, so dualistic, so meaningless by its own, right? Because if you really think about it, you go like, why should I do anything? Why should I work for material wealth? Why should I earn any money? Because one day I'm going to die. One day everyone else is going to die. Why should I even care about anything like that when I know this life itself is temporary? Fair question. But when you bring that insight about the inner journey into it, then you see we are not really doing it for any external gain. But the external life is here to support the internal journey. So, understanding that, then you may want to do certain things in your external world that are meaningful to you, that help you to go through this internal journey in a much more enriched way. For example, you may want to go on a pilgrimage in the external world, which is a very straightforward comparison here for the external journey and the internal journey. And on this pilgrimage, as you go, you may want to do things very differently than if you were just going like a normal tourist. It doesn't really matter where you're going to. It's just an excuse for a journey. But as you go through this journey, every moment that happens for you to enrich your journey becomes something that you take not for its own sake, but to see how God, your higher self, is speaking to you through that external experience. And the same goes with everything in your life right now. Everything that is present in your consciousness, every person in your life, every situation that comes up, including things that are not quote unquote spiritual, financial stuff, relationships, everything. Spirituality is not an exclusive thing where you push away, oh, this is not spiritual, this is not spiritual, this is not spiritual, according to me. Right? There are different paths which are like very narrow paths where you're like, oh, this is only things that I do. All these other things I don't do. And you build this very thin path walking on the razor's edge. That is a different path. But there can be another path which is so wide that it doesn't even make sense that it's wide, that it encompasses the entire universe. And you can then be in this world fully, do whatever you need to do fully. You can live your life in the most intense ways as it is to be lived. As life brings to you this moment, you live this moment fully without struggling with, is this spiritual or not? Because you see that this moment right now is neither spiritual nor materialistic. There is no duality between the two. It's this moment beyond any limitations. And in that way, you can honor everything. You can honor your financial stuff as much as your meditation stuff. Your crystals and your altar, your daily practice is as important as your work. And then there is a beautiful light that you shine upon that task, which was earlier not a spiritual task. Now that task has taken this light that is shone upon it, and because of that light, it has become a meditation. So everything becomes meditation when you do it this way, when you see the inner world and the outer world together. It all makes perfect sense. And it just comes to balance by itself. Mm. I hope all that made sense. But if you have questions, you can ask me in the comments. And next, what I invite you to watch is this video where I go into limiting beliefs and myths that you can let go of in order to break through your spiritual awakening. So it's linked right here. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.